Well, I did it again. I killed a dog. Oh, maybe not. It's a miracle, a junkyard miracle. Welcome to the Junkyard Crawl. I'm Stephen Yondi. We're here at Bernardston Auto Wrecking with Queen Katie of Bernardston with a 1985 Chevy S10 4-wheel drive. Now, if you're old like I am, this is not an old vehicle. I remember these things when they were new. These were kind of a big deal. You got to remember, 1982 was the first year for the S10, which was Chevrolet's first compact, American-made, designed, built, although some are built in Canada, pickup truck. And it fought the Nissan, the Datsun, the Toyota, and of course the Chevy Love, which was an Isuzu, was also sort of sold at the same time for about a year when these things first came out. But this basically was an American pickup truck, downsized and very popular. In fact, this thing new was $8,258 for the four-wheel drive, a full $2,259 more than a two-wheel drive S10. But I remember here in New England, you'd see these things everywhere. But what's uncommon about this one is the black paint and the fact that it's a 6-foot bed four-wheel drive. There was also a 7.5-foot bed. There was an extra cab. So the shorties with the small bed and the small cab are kind of uncommon. And this one looks to be essentially, I won't say unrestored, but original paint, original wheels. These are the optional $299 sport wheels, which kind of have the same look as the Citation X11 sport wheel. Yes, the same studio designed these as well. They don't swap, but again, a very attractive wheel, $299 well spent. Standard steel wheels on a regular four-wheel drive S10. But again, the Uniroyal Tiger Paw tires are factory fit, so it's kind of a weird thing, like somebody bought this and put it away. Not sure, but we got to dig in. Now, the engine on this thing in 1985, standard would have been the 2.5 liter Iron Duke pushrod, which was new in 85. And that was standard, even with four-wheel drive. So what do we have here? Oh, nice. Okay, this is the optional extra charge 2.8 liter V6. Now, if you look at this engine, it's kind of narrow. Well, that's because it's built on a 60-degree V, not the 90-degree you would expect on most V6s, like the Buick 3.8. But it's a narrow engine. And GM made use of this engine in so many ways. The Pontiac Fiero, the Chevy Citation, and in trucks like this, of course, the Blazer and pickup trucks. So the 2.8 liter V6 with 115 horsepower was the workhorse. Now the base engine had 92 horsepower, but in 1988, excuse me, Chevrolet did offer the 4.3 liter with 160 horsepower V8. Now that was a 90-degree based on the Chevy small block. And speaking of Chevy small blocks, for a long time, the thing to do was to put V8s into these S10s. Now you gotta remember, this first generation S10, the square body, 82 through 93. So a lot of these things on the road. But this is basically a guy who would show you how to put a V8 into your S10, the motor mounts, the engines, automatic transmissions, manuals, fuel systems, the whole kit and caboodle. This was done in 1994, this book right here. But it's kind of a case study on do's and don'ts for putting a V8 into your S10. Now, this is before the LS era. We're talking here about, iron block V8s from Corvettes, tune ports, how to do the motor mounts. A cool little book right here. I have to say the V8 S10 thing goes to this day. In fact, I have one in my driveway. I've got a GMC Sonoma 1998 with a 4.8 liter LS out of a van. It's a rear-wheel drive, got plenty of power to boil the rear tires all day long. So this engine bay, whether it's the first gen or the second gen S10, will take a V8 without too much trouble at all. But this is the V6. Interesting stuff to look at here. For that $2,200 upcharge over a two-wheel drive, they added some cool stuff, like the hood deadener pad right here with the 4x4 logo in it. That was specific to the four-wheel drive trucks. And again, $8,258 base price on a four-wheel drive 4-cylinder short bed like this. And again, the V6 was probably another $300 or so. But again, power steering, kind of cool. But these are interesting. These don't have leaf springs or a beam axle up front. They have torsion bars, kind of like the modern four-wheel drive trucks. But these things rode well. Also a 4-inch wider track front and rear than a two-wheel drive S10. So a lot of unique stuff on these. Inside, this one here is a Tahoe. The interior is pretty well gutted. Now the word on this one, this was owned by the owner of Bernardston Auto Wrecking, Dale Hastings, and he said that he bought this thing, it had a rod knock. So we put another 2.8 in it, the damn thing still had a rod knock. So he said, I just parked it. He said his heart was broken. And so that's the story of this one. But here's the spin. kind of cool. We can learn how this was originally built. And we can see here it had the, starting at the top left, the intermittent wipers, the extended below eye line, etc. Fleet side body, 2.8, 20-gallon fuel tank, power steering, larger tires, Tahoe equipment, off-road chassis equipment, kind of cool. And on the top right, deep tint glass, 1,500 payload package, up from 1,000, pretty cool. Live axle 373s, 4-speed manual, comfort tilt wheel, cast aluminum wheels, there they are. That $179, $299, whatever it was. And of course, AM/FM midnight black paint, and very uncommon to see black paint on a pickup truck, especially a four-wheel drive, because they get dirty and muddy. So it must have been a classy little truck when it was new. And here's the shifter right here for that 4-speed manual transmission. And we talked to Dale about this truck. Dale Hastings, the owner of Bernardston Auto Wrecking. And this truck, he said that when he put the engine in, he fired it up. It still had a rod knock. It broke his heart, but he had a new clutch in it. So he sold that new clutch to somebody who came here, pulled the clutch out of the truck in the junkyard. Just the clutch. Why would you do that? But somebody did. But interesting to see in the back of this thing, the alternate automatic, this thing right here. Now, this is the 700R4 with InstaTrack transfer case here. And here's the shifter for this thing. This would come up through the floor. You'd hit the button and move it like this. And InstaTrack allowed you to go from 2-wheel drive to 4-high without stopping. And no need to get out and turn locks. In fact, the wheels don't even have a hub in the middle. So this is pretty advanced stuff. Here's the aluminum transfer case right here, feeding power to the front and the rear at the same time. But the downside to this 700R4, although it is a pretty tough little tranny, is this right here. The integrally cast bell housing, which is unique to the 60-degree V6 engine. So you can't use this behind a V8. So this is strictly S10 V6 stuff right here. Here's the torque converter right there. So again, this is the best of both worlds, if you will, the automatic InstaTrack or SelectTrack, InstaTrack, and of course the 4-speed manual inside. I'll meet you inside, let's head inside here. But again, a pretty tasty truck. When this thing was new, it must have been awesome. Here's the clutch pedal right here. Here's the hole in the floor for the ill-fated 4-speed manual transmission. And this is more InstaTrack stuff right here. SelectTrack, I keep saying InstaTrack, it's a Jeep thing. But here's the 4-speed doohickey right here that would have come through the floor like that. So a sad thing that the engine that went in here was no better than the one that came out. But again, a loaded truck. Again, this was probably right around $9,500 when it was new, which is kind of Camaro territory. But again, short bed, 4-wheel drive, S10 pickup like this. 1985, I think the 4th year of manufacture. Keep in mind, the S10 came out in 82, not available in 4-wheel drive till 83. So with that said, these square body S10s are kind of coming on strong with collectors, you know. After 1993, the rounded ones arrived, which is what I have. I got a 98. I wish I had a square body like this. These are cool. And with the 373 rear axle hiding behind that sport wheel, kind of a perky little rig too. It accelerated really well. Friends of mine had these things back in the day, and they were certainly peppy, even though it only had 115 horsepower. It will absolutely get your attention. These will go pretty much anywhere in 4 or low. Kind of a fun little truck. And again, to me, it's a new vehicle, but to a lot of folks, this is an old-time thing, as cool as a 55 Thunderbird, and I get that. And again, with the graphics package, the Tahoe, the 4-wheel drive short bed, it's an eye-catching little truck. Maybe somebody will buy this thing and have better luck than Dale did with 2 engines with rod knocks. But that said, it's still solid enough to be saved. I stay out of the middle. Come and get it if you want here at Bernardston Auto Wrecking. But anyway, this is a story of how something that to me is quite new might really not be that new to other people with younger eyeballs. With that said, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up, like it, and of course hit the bell so you're aware when the next video hits, which is tomorrow morning.